following announcement has been paid for by the Celtic World Order.
Welcome back to Celtic World Order. My name's Josh McCafferty and we're here today for yet another Celtic transfer update. Yes, there's lots and lots going on, so we're going to be getting through some stuff today. Before we start though, the bit of housekeeping that we always do. If you like what you see, if you love the content, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Like the video, it really helps us out and helps the channel grow and helps us get more viewers and like-minded people like ourselves. Today we're going to be talking all things Alex Valle, Arne Engels, Matthijs Bogus, Champions League draws, a lot to get through. But first of all, delighted to be joined by Paddy for this one. How you doing, Paddy?
Yeah, all good, mate. Fresh off of last night's podcast with Steve-O, which he did call the incoming Valle from Barcelona. He said he would be in this morning, and he is. So happy days.
Certainly our very own Fabrizio Romano there, Steve-O. Alex
He is,
Valle
yeah.
has signed this morning. It is a season-long loan deal from Barcelona. What surprised me the most about this is that he's taken the number 11 jersey. We'll get onto that later. But first of all, Paddy, your verdict on the signing, you happy with it?
Absolutely delighted. We've pointed out previous occasions the left-back position is where we lack in a lot of games. You've seen it last season at some points we were targeted on the left-hand side in various games. I'll just point out the Aberdeen game, for instance. They absolutely dominated us by putting the ball over towards Greg Taylor and Liam Scales. So hopefully, even if we don't get in Trusty to cement the centre-back position, then having somebody who is a left-back and of a bit of talent, that'll free up Scales to actually do his job and defend as well. Yeah. So it might be a good move for us all.
Yeah, certainly looks like a good signing on paper. He's a wee bit taller than Greg Taylor. He's 5'10", which is good to see. Left-footed, he's going to bomb up and down that left-hand side. I've really liked what I've seen from him in videos and clips so far. He's versatile. He played for right-back for Barcelona in a friendly against Real Madrid early in pre-season, which was good to see. Certainly wants to beat the club. Brendan Rodgers was a big factor in getting him here. Talking to him and selling the project to him. Obviously, Brendan can speak Spanish, which is a bit of a help as well. No option to buy in this. Does that give you a wee bit of concern, Paddy? But he does have that release clause in his contract with Barcelona, I believe.
Yeah, the release clause was only something like 3 million or something, was it? So when it comes to the end of a contract like that, and if the guy comes in and does the job, I'm similar to yourself. What I've seen of him, I've seen clips of YouTube, things like that. We joke about it before. I could make myself look like Pele on YouTube. Of course, you could. But listen, the lad looks like he's a decent enough player. It gets to the byline, which is what I want to see. I'm a big fan of that. So, yeah, I'm excited to see him coming in. And if you come the end of the loan period and he is looking like a stable left back in there, then by all accounts, pay the 3 million and bring him in.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's a lot of the things as a left back that Greg Taylor isn't. We know Greg Taylor's very good in that inverted role and on the ball passing, but he can't really go ahead and beat a man going forward and get to the byline and put a cross in. And I think that's where Valle will complement him very nicely. I mean, you're going to have 50 to 60 games this season. Let's say Celtic are 8 in the Champions League. Yeah. You're going to need 2 options in each position. And Valle coming in from Barcelona, La Masia has a brilliant academy, and he has some really good experience there, playing for Levante in La Liga 2 last season. And he's a talent that Brendan Rodgers will certainly look to bring on. Can you see him displacing Greg Taylor in the team, Paddy?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. I spoke about it previously as well when the last few games that I've been at there. You just watch it, Greg Taylor just seems to drift. He's never where you want him to be. You want your left back to be in the left back position. And at one of the previous games, my mate pointed it out to me that he's over on the right wing. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, what are you doing out there, pal? I want a defender more so than somebody who's going to be trying to be a world beater. If this young lad's going to come in and defend, of course we want him to go forward. It's part of the game now. Stay in the left at least.
I think
that's kind of where I'm at with it.
I know a lot of the Taylor on the right stuff is down to that kind of inverted role. The manager's wanting him to get over there, create overloads, which frees up space for McGregor to do what he's doing and scoring the goals. But at the same time, you kind of want a bit of traditional getting up and down the left-hand side, like Alistair Johnston. In an ideal world, you'd have your left back the same profile as Johnston, in terms of being strong and able-bodied to go forward and attack. But we'll just have to see what Valle brings. I'm a fan of the signing. I seen a blog piece from someone talking about how it's a disgrace that Celtic have signed a Spanish second-tier left-back. I totally don't agree with that. I think it's a brilliant signing for Celtic, and I've got no doubts that Valle will come in and do well. Still only 20, he's got that room for improvement, and I'm sure he'll do pretty well for Celtic. On Arne Engels, we've seen Matt O'Reilly come off 6 minutes into his Brighton debut last night, but gutting to see for him. Obviously, big move down south, and it's against Crawley Town, and that shows you the level that one of those tackles flew in. But his replacement certainly looks like it will be Arne Engels of Augsburg, Belgium. He was in the provisional Belgian squad for the Euros. Celtic reportedly yesterday made a £9 million bid for Engels, and today the Augsburg manager has spoke out on it. His exact words are, "I think he will be in our squad for the next game, which is on Sunday. I heard about the rumours. I don't know what will happen in the last couple of days of the window." For me, Brendan Rodgers said this exact same stuff about Matt O'Reilly last week, that he was going to be in the squad for St Mirren. 24 hours later, he's on the flight, the EasyJet flight, down to the south coast to join Brighton. So I would take that with a pinch of salt. But Paddy, would you be happy with Arne Engels coming in and replacing Matt, and obviously the money that looks like it could be spent on him?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be a direct replacement for Matt. I don't think we're going to see the same kind of things, but he's a talent. The boy's a talent. You're not going to pay $9 million upwards for a player to come in that's not going to go straight into your squad. We seen last night when we were on, we were actually talking about it, and there was a few comments in and about the chat as well saying that they were asking for 12 million and things like that. I think it'll be 9 million plus add-ons, percentage sell-on fees, things like that. We just want to see things over the line. Like you're saying, Brendan done the exact same thing with Matt O'Reilly. Oh, no, he's firmly in our plans. We're going forward, blah, blah, blah. You've got to say that. As a manager, you can't just turn around and go, I think he's out the door. Do you know what I mean? It's not what they do. They've got a business to run at the end of the day as well. Maybe they are fishing for a little bit more money. Maybe they're turning around to Celtic and saying, listen, make it 10 and you can have them. Either or. Steve kind of called it last night. I think he said it'll be 10:57 on the Thursday night. He'll be getting shoved in the door and that'll be it. He'll be, go get signed up, son.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's certainly been dragged out. The first reports we had about Engels were a couple of weeks ago, and I was a bit concerned with a couple of days to go. The squad is currently weaker than it was at the end of last season. But for me, Engels would be a good signing. I think he's not similar to someone like Odenholm. He brought Odenholm in from Norway, didn't have much top-level experience as a 20-year-old, 19-year-old, comes in for £1 million, £2 million, and it doesn't set it alight. Whereas when you're paying, like you say, Paddy, £9 million for a player, 32, 33 appearances in the Bundesliga last season. For a team like Augsburg, he'd done pretty well. More or less impressive. I think as well, he brings a bit of versatility. I think he can play out in the right-hand side of midfield. He can play in that Matt O'Reilly role, maybe a bit deeper as well. And he's also played right back a couple of times. So it's always good to have players like that in your squad. A bit like Mattis Bogus, who can play multiple positions. We'll get on to him in a minute. But yeah, I'd be happy with it. And £9 million Celtic they would be getting serious. But like you say, it probably will be that 9 million with add-ons, whatever, whether it be sell-on fee, 30%, 25%, I don't know. But I'd be quite encouraged by it if Engels was to come in. Paddy, were you a bit gutted to see Matt O'Reilly's Brighton debut last night come to a quick stop?
Listen, we all want the best for the guy. He was the complete professional, even up until the very, very end when he left. And I seen his interview for Brighton as well, and they asked him a bit about Celtic, and he said he was a bit gutted that he never actually got to have a farewell to the fans, and that he'd compose a nice wee message to say thank you very much and things like that. I'm a bit gutted we never got that as well, with the bringing him off at the 60 minutes and gave him a standing ovation, basically say thank you very much, mate. He done us proud, because you know what a player. For where he came from to what he was when he left, I think he can only go on to better things. I just hope it's not a extremely bad one. I've not really heard anything this morning how bad it was.
Neither have I. The video I seen last night was him going into his car in crutches after the game, limping. It didn't look too promising, and there's an account on Twitter that does like injury estimations based off of what they see from the injury, and it said it could be 6 to 10 weeks. But I don't know how credible that is. But you never know. That'd be quite a shame for him because, like you say, he handled himself incredibly throughout the whole transfer speculation. Even Brendan Rodgers said after he was training on, I think it was Friday, in the lead up to the St Mirren game on Sunday, and he stayed extra on Friday to do extra bits of training, and he knew he was going to be away. That just says a lot about Matt Riley for me as a person, and when he eventually makes that Instagram post saying goodbye to Celtic and wishing them all the best, I think I'm going to shed a tear or two. But we moved on. We moved on as a club from Matt Riley, and Arne Engels could be the replacement. Another name floating about, and has been floating about for the past week or so, is Matthias Bogus. The last reports we read were that Celtic are still in talks with LAFC over a potential deal. They lost the cup final at the weekend there, and they've got a game against Seattle in the early hours of tomorrow morning, 3:30 a.m. kickoff. He has travelled with the squad for that game, which could be a bit of a concern if Celtic are trying to get a deal over the line before the deadline. Do you think Bogus could sign, or the fact he's in the squad is anything to do with a transfer? What do you think?
The fact he's went out there with the squad, I feel is a kick in the teeth for us. I was all in for this. He was doing the cup final. That was all agreed. He was going to get the cup final out of the way and then apparently fly in, get everything sorted. I don't know how much of this you can do remotely. I don't know if we have people out there who can do the medicals and whatever. I suppose we just need to wait and see. How long is the flight for Seattle? How long have we got to get him in?
I know, it's the total other side of America. I remember last week there was a flight radar from a private jet going from LA to Glasgow that was going about on Twitter. People were saying it could have been bogus, but obviously wasn't in the end. But
yeah, bogus call.
Yeah, it was a bogus call. There you go. But if they're looking at getting him in, I think £8 million is the fee that's been mentioned, that I would really like to get him in the door. I'm a big fan of this signing, if people who are watching don't already know. But will it happen? I'm not sure. I think the likelihood of this transfer is declining by the hour in terms of the fact he's going out there to travel with the squad. My prediction is, now, this is just a prediction based off no evidence whatsoever. If anyone clips this and comes back, don't come at me. This is just based off my own thoughts and what I think could happen. Celtic will sign Engels, and obviously Brendan Rodgers has said he wants 2 midfielders if O'Reilly goes. So I think Engels will come in the door, and what I think they'll do is an 11th hour move for Luke McCowan, and he will come in alongside Engels. I don't think it would be such a bad move if you got McCowan in the door, especially if you get Engels as well. Added depth, Scottish, homegrown player who knows the league, coming into his peak years, and Brendan Rodgers seems to rate him as well. What would you think if McCowan came in late in the day?
I spoke about him previously. He's had a cracking start to the season as well. He had a good end to the season, like you said. He seems to be hitting his peak at the right time. What was the fee? Something like 800,000.
Yeah, £1 million banded about. Yeah,
it's an absolute steal for somebody like that. Like you say, he's going to come in, Scottish, homegrown, fits the bill, and I think he'd do good. I think he'd work well in there with Callum and Rio and Arne Engels if he obviously comes in as well. So yeah, for me, he's an option. I would prefer to have Bogus in there. I was looking for a set piece taker, somebody who's going to give us a bit of that. And watching the highlights of Bogus, he offered that, and that was one of the things for me. I spoke to Steve about it, and I'd said we need a Nakamura, somebody like this that's going to give us that option, because we didn't really have it. When was the last time we actually scored directly from a free kick? It doesn't happen a lot.
I cannot remember the last goal Celtic scored for a free kick.
So I think it was Jota, maybe in the Champions League against Real Madrid.
Yeah,
that was probably it.
That was almost 2 years ago now. That says a lot.
Yeah, so when you think back, we get a lot of free kicks in and around the box because we get technically gifted players in that positions. Mm-hmm. You're needing somebody that's going to pump the ball in there and become a danger. Yeah, it's always a good way to get a goal. So yeah, excited. Hopefully Bogus comes in. If he doesn't, then do you know what? McCowan for me is a decent player to bring in.
Certainly. As well, another, in terms of outgoings, one you mentioned on the show last night is Mickey Johnson, perhaps going to Sheffield United for £2.5 million. For anyone that didn't see last night, Paddy, do you think that's a good move for him and a good move for the club?
It's a good move for me, mate. I said previously, I've made it quite known that I think the Celtic jersey is far too heavy for Mikey Johnson. I think he's an incredible player. Republic of Ireland international. He went down to West Brom last year, was almost a player of the season. He was doing absolutely fantastic. For me, we kind of joked about it last night. I was like, oh, they drove him down myself and whatever else. I think it's a good bit of business for Celtic getting rid of him because he's been there a long time. He's been out on loan. He's done the job. I'm just happy to be rid, to be fair. I wish him all the best. I really do. I think he will go down there and push on because he's not got the pressure of Glasgow. I think certainly. that weighs on a lot of people up here.
Yeah, I think it's a good move for him. And while we're on the subject of Sheffield United and Austin Trusty as a centre-half that has been coming in the door, just while we're recording this, and now it's been reported that the $5 million bid Celtic have made for him has been rejected, which is a bit of a blow. Obviously, defensive reinforcements are needed, especially centre-half. Paddy Austin Trusty, obviously someone who could be coming in. $5 million bid rejected. Are you surprised at that?
Not really. Well, yes and no. I thought we'd have done a wee deal with Mikey saying, like, if we're giving you him, then we could have a wee handshake there with him, but that doesn't seem to have worked. I'd like to have seen him in, like Steve-O said last night. We kind of joked about having two Americans in there. They could talk American to each other. It'd be good for morale and stuff like that. I thought that was quite good, but yeah, I'd like to see him in. $5 million for me isn't a massive amount to pay for a good centre half. We've pumped out $7 million on guys like Christopher Jullien as well, and things like that. I just don't want us to have all our eggs in the one basket, which it seems to be what we're doing. You've got the names mentioned. You've got Engels, Bogus, Trusty, Valle. You've got all of these kind of guys in there, and it's been the same ones for the last few days now.
Yeah,
and I don't want it to get to the stage where Celtic go, oh, sorry, we didn't get him, so we didn't bother getting anybody. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's for me, you need to have a few more options in there.
Yeah, as long as it's not at the stage where the Trusty bid gets rejected and another one gets rejected, saying then you're looking at a young centre half on loan for the English Premier League. That's the situation you don't want to be in.
Yeah.
If they were to sign Trusty, I don't know how much Sheffield United would want, to be honest, but they signed him for £4.5 million last summer, and now they've been relegated. Obviously, the $5 million is rejected. I think if Celtic were to raise the offer by even $1 million or two, I think it's one you could go over the line. There's going to be a bit of a good relationship between the clubs if the Mikey Johnson deal goes through, especially because Sheffield United are getting him at a price which I think is quite good for them. Probably Celtic could have got a wee bit more for Johnston. But yeah, the Trusty deal and the bid has been rejected, so that is a bit frustrating, latest regarding that. But on tomorrow, we've got the Champions League draw, Paddy. It's going to be a busy 48 hours, actually. Champions League draws tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Deadline on Friday at 11:30. Then we've got the small matter of the Glasgow Derby on Sunday. Champions League draw, 5 o'clock tomorrow. Are you buzzing?
Oh, mate, I can't wait. However, I did see that prediction thing that you done earlier on, and it gave me a bit of fear, to be honest. That was that's a bit dodgy, isn't it?
Just for the viewers, I done a simulation just for the viewers here, and Celtic got as our two pot one teams: Man City at home and Barcelona away. Pot 2, Benfica at home, Atalanta away. Pot 3, PSV at home and Red Star Belgrade away. Monaco at home from pot 4 and Girona away. A horror draw that is for me.
Yeah, but you know what? You want to play with the big boys, then you need to be able to go in there and do that, and that's what it is. The Champions League for me was always a joyous time, going in there and seeing the likes of Barcelona at Celtic Park and Bayern Munich's and your Real Madrid's and things like that. For me, it's a time where you enjoy it. You don't go there expecting to scud these teams. You're going there to enjoy the atmosphere, to play against the big boys, essentially. And that's what it is for me. Yes, with the new format, I would like to see us progress. And I think we will. I think with this new format coming in, at Celtic Park, we will beat anybody. We've proven it before. There's no team that can come to Parkhead and frighten us. We're a big enough team to do that. It's an away form in Europe that's lacked in the last wee while. And I think this year, with the new format, I think it will maybe play into our hands a little bit. And I would expect us, if the signings come in and we've got like for like coming off the bench, I'd expect us to do well in that. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it.
That's the big thing in the Champions League. It's about the transfers, and these next 2 days are going to be massive in terms of how we do in Europe, I feel, because if they can get the quality in, then certainly you can push on in Europe. If the squad remains what it is now, and perhaps you only get Engels in, then you're looking at a bit of a poor Champions League campaign again. But we'll just have to wait and see. The draw could be kind, the draw could be unkind, like we've seen. I think 10 points will probably be the benchmark if Celtic had to make it into the last 16 playoff. That is the target. That is what the manager has said. And with 4 games at home and 4 games away from home against a range of different teams, I think that's very much possible. But for the past couple of years, I think Celtic European form has been embarrassing. You look at the Champions League last season, 4 points. Season before that, 2 points. Year before that, Europa League group stage finishing third, then getting knocked out of Bodo Glimt. It's just been poor the past couple of years in Europe, and the manager has clearly stated that he feels that's something the club need to address and need to do much better in.
A few of the games though, when you look back at the Atletico Madrid game and things like that, we were unlucky.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Those kind of games, like there's been a few wee parts here and there, and I think that just comes down to how much we're playing and the squad depth, and obviously what we're playing against every weekend, because we're coming up against teams that have got a flat back 10. Now, you're not in Europe, so we're used to playing these teams and getting 80% of possession and running at these teams and battering them. And Kasper Schmeichels is sitting in the post having a wee...
having a fag,
He's enjoying himself. You come up against these teams in the Champions League and all of a sudden you're the team getting battered. These teams are coming out at you, and it's something that we don't often get. Other than a Glasgow derby, we don't often see teams come at us. So that's the difference in the Champions League, and that's how, going back seasons previous when we've actually been playing attacking styles of football, it's all good in the Premier League, but when you go to the Champions League, you need to be able to sit back and go, right, wait a minute, we're going to need to absorb some of this. And we haven't done that. And I think we've tried to be too attacking minded and we've got caught out.
Yeah, certainly against the big boys, we've kind of got caught out away from home. Atletico Madrid was a tough one. Obviously, it's been down to 10 men. It was kind of an outlier. But at Parkhead, at Celtic Park, when you have a go at these teams like Atletico Madrid, they were on the ropes for most of that game, and Celtic were unlucky not to take 3 points.
Their ass collapsed. I was there. Honestly, as soon as the first goal went in, I thought, we've got them. That's it. This is game over. And it looked like it for a while.
Lazio at home was fine margins. If that Palma goal was onside a couple of inches, then you're walking away with 3 points instead of none. So you've got the gap between the fine margins, but the only way you can kind of get those fine margins closed is by bringing in the quality, like the manager continues to talk about, and that's why these next couple of days are going to be crucial. Before we finish up, Paddy, this short show, I'm going to ask you predictions between now and the end of the window. I want you to tell me, who do you think, what players will sign for Celtic?
I think we will bring in Engels. I think he is the main priority. I think he is the top man for us. I think he's the main deal. Bogus travelling out today, I think, kind of seals it for me. I think that's him. He's staying there with them. So, like you had said, McCowan, I would fully expect a kind of last minute thing for him. Only takes an hour to drive through for Dundee, so he can leave at 9 o'clock at night and be there for 10. Sign on the dotted line, and we could get him over the line last minute. Trusty, I think we'll maybe go in with another 5.75 or something. You know, Celtic, they'll lowball it as much as they can. I think they'll put one more bid in there. Tell them it's their last main bid, and I hope we get it over the line. I'd like to see a centre half coming in. We really need it. Just for backup. Obviously, with Lager Bielka going away out on loan as well. I thought that almost sealed that we had one in the door. I said that to Steve last night. We were talking, and says him going away says that we've got one coming in. That's a no-brainer, because you're not going to send a guy out on loan and not have a replacement for him.
Well, this is Celtic we're talking about, though. So
it is Celtic we're talking about. So kind of we've got Carter Vickers. Narotsky, we spoke about him, obviously being made of glass, cardboard, whatever. He's certainly not made of anything else. I think we need to bulk him up. He needs to be a little bit stronger, but we definitely need to solidify the centre.
It's got to be a priority alongside Engels. For me, the prediction for me is Engels, a last-ditch move for McCowan, and perhaps a centre-back. I'm not sure who the centre-back will be, whether it's Trusty, whether it's a last-minute loan of a youth player from the English Premier League. I don't know, but let's hope whatever happens between now and Friday, the squad comes out of it stronger than it was at the end of last season. It's been, I could be showing this Wednesday afternoon. We've recorded this at 2:00 on Wednesday afternoon, so if anything's come out after that, then we've obviously not got it, because just to let you know the time, and in case people come in the comments saying, "Oh, you missed this, you missed that," it might have came out later on. But thank you for joining us. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff.
I've got Twitter beside us. I'm currently scrolling Twitter just to make sure.
There's no last minute rumours. I think we just got the trusty bid rejected on time. Once again, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll be sure to see you between now and the end of the window.
Yep. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. And hail, hail.